one more time. We back again. We're here for our first time with the Clipperdome Chronicles. We're live at WVOL 1470AM in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, so we want to get started today. We want to thank a lot of people that was integral, that had a lot to do with us getting here today. We had to, this ain't low connection. So we just want to start off. We want to thank, it's not, just take it off and see if we can. So we want to thank everybody. First, I want to start off with my family. I want to start off with my family because that was an integral part, of course, of me coming up. When I was coming up as a young man, we had a very strong family tie on both sides, on my mother and father's side. But so what that led me to is to go to college. My grandfather was very instrumental in me going to Alabama A&M. So I went to Alabama A&M. When I got there in 1989, I was cutting hair before I went to college. So when I got to college and I started working in the barbershop, and I was also going to school. So I was working part-time. So working part-time, going to school, I stayed there for 3 years. 3 years being at Alabama A&M, and I found that part-time I was making just as much money as I would full-time. This is back in the early 90s. So with that being said, I left, dropped out of college in my third year, in my junior year. I finished my junior year, and then I went back home to Detroit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to tell my family about, why I dropped out of college. So trying to figure out why I dropped out of college, and then what is going to be the explanation that I could give them as far as why I did that. So when I went home, I was only 20 years old. So at 20 years old, I didn't have enough wherewithal or enough knowledge or wisdom to explain why I was dropping out of college. So I started working in the barbershop. I was thinking, I said, I have to open my own. I was doing very, very well. So at the barbershop I was at, they let me rent a chair, but they wouldn't only let me use commission. They wouldn't let me pay a rental fee because they get more of a percentage of my money if I just work on commission. So I finally got a hold to my own barbershop. I purchased me a building. I went to school. I got my license. And that's where the Clipperdome started. Okay, that was my first barbershop. But I got married at 22. And my wife then she got pregnant. So when she got pregnant, I had to figure out what could I use as a marketing tool. What's going to draw men into where I am? What's going to make them come and spend their time and their money with me? So I came up with the idea of a sports barbershop. So my sports barbershop was called the Clipperdome Chronicles. So that sports theme came from like the Metrodome, the Superdome, the Georgia Dome, that sports theme. We took that and incorporated it into the barbershop. So in Detroit, we had another 17 open after that. And then we had, there's a couple of hundred around the country as of today. So there was a small industry started inside of an industry. So the Clipperdome Chronicles was born from there in Detroit, Michigan in 1993. And that was spurred by the birth of my daughter. So after we opened up the barbershop, I purchased another piece of property. I opened up a restaurant, and the restaurant came with a hair salon attached to it. So when I was in the barbershop, I continued to get a consistent message from the men. And it just floored me. I was like, wow, how can we keep this message so consistent? How can they say the same thing when it's the diverse group of social, economic, and cultural backgrounds? So after a couple of years, I started paying attention and I wrote it down. And then after I wrote it down, then I started recording it. So then I went down to my hair salon and I did the same thing with the ladies, and the message stayed consistent. It never changed. So then I thought to myself, after I wrote down what the ladies were saying and I wrote down what the brothers were saying, how could I bridge the gap in communication? Because communication is usually lost in translation. It's not always what you hear, it's how you receive it. And when you receive what someone is saying to you, it's going to come from your mentality, where you are at that particular time, your emotional mind state, your spiritual awareness, your culture, your background, and your beliefs will dictate how you hear or receive somebody. So we have videos on YouTube that's connected to all of the conversations that we have. I took all of the conversations and they turned into videos. So we have a list of videos, and the one number 4, the video on YouTube, you go to the Clipperdome Chronicles, is called Perception versus Reality. So when we say perception versus reality, the perception is what you think you see. And again, that can come from your culture, your background, your belief system, your upbringing, and your experiences. But the reality does not change, only your view. So in the perception versus reality, we use several examples. An example of perception versus reality could be going to the optometrist. When you go to the optometrist and they click the lens, every time the optometrist clicks the lens, your vision becomes clearer or more blurry. But the one thing that doesn't change is the reality of the numbers and the letters on the board. The numbers and the letters on the board don't change. The only time it changes is your perception when he clicks the lenses. So that's number 4 video. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of that on perception versus reality, because we're going to be speaking a lot on that. The Clipperdome, to give some more of that intro, we are going to use common relationship problems, and we're going to give you tools and resources to get healthy solutions. The way we're going to try to help bring the healthy solutions is we're going to bring on a variety of different professionals from various backgrounds. We're going to have some lawyers, we're going to have some counselors, we're going to have some psychiatrists, different people who deal with relationships from different perspectives, and they can help shed light on what we have going on. The reason the Clipperdome Chronicles is very important and so special is because I keep getting the consistent message from men and women, and our relationships is in tragic turmoil. So because I had this wealth of information, after I wrote down the information, I took it to different counselors, life coaches, psychiatrists, and psychologists, and they helped me turn the data into statistics. So turning that data into statistics is where we get this information, and we get to use it in the different forums that we have. We do relationship forums with men and women. We do retreats where we take them on vacation. It could be married couples or singles. We have different excerpts that we use. There are things, we take women out on field trips. So what we do is we teach the woman how to make herself more available. So some instances or examples that we can use is, just say you have a woman that's in the Kroger. If she's in the Kroger and she may see a young man that looks good to her, so she could walk up to him, she could tell him that her phone is not working, and she could ask him if she could please use his phone so that she could dial the person that's taking care of her children. She wants to check on her child or her children. So when she gets his phone, she can dial her number into his phone, and her phone is going to ring. She can show him her phone, and then he'll know now that he has her phone number, because women don't like rejection, because the rejection is tied to security. A woman likes to be secure, so rejection makes her feel less safe and more vulnerable. So just that one example is some excerpts that we use on how we can teach women to become more available without going too far and crossing the line and perhaps being rejected. So we have a little bit of the history on the Clipperdome. We have who we are and what we're going to do. So the tools that we use are our forums, and we have those different excerpts, like I said, the field trips. We also do phone consults for more in-depth private conversations. We're going to use some hot topics. We're going to have some different challenges that we'll use on the show. So we're on every Monday and Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. here in Nashville at 1470 WVOL. Some of the hot topics will be, he cheated on me. She talks too much. And we're going to explore those, and we want to give you some tools and some resources on how to deal with those type of situations. We want to talk about accountability, and we want to give the definition for that. We want to talk about the dirty word, the very dirty word. Cover your ears, ladies. Submission. We want to teach men and women how to govern together and not control. We want to talk about he doesn't provide, and how that looks to the ladies, and how to get the brothers in line so that we can take care of that. She is too independent. We want to define the word independent. We want to also go into why good guys stay alone. In the barbershop, I know a lot of good professional, good brothers who are viable options, and they are always regularly lonely. The guys that come in the barbershop that are the players, the dudes and the thugs, they sometimes carry 3 phones and have 20 to 30 women in rotation. So we want to get off into those so that you can see what accountability looks like, what submission looks like, what governing and not controlling may look like. If she talks too much, because they are communicators, how to deal with those situations. Those will be hot topics. So what we'll do is we'll ask the question about the hot topic on Monday. And then you have to go to the Clipperdome Chronicles on YouTube, and you can put your vote or leave your comment, and whoever gets it right after we ask the question or comes closest to the answer, we'll give out $25 gift cards to different places around the city. We must do a disclaimer. Everything, all of my promotions from the Clipperdome Chronicles, whether it be a gift card, any of my excerpts, any of my forums, any of my retreats, is in no shape, form, or fashion a reflection on WVOL 1470. I use my phone numbers. I use all of I'm totally responsible for everything that goes on this air that comes from me. It is no reflection on WVOL 1470 AM. So we needed to do that disclaimer so we can make sure that whatever we do, you have to contact me. I'll give out my number several times throughout the show, with the email addresses, the Instagram, and you can contact me from there. And so we can handle whatever we need to do as far as the giveaways. Okay, doing the forums, we have men's meetings regularly. Okay, so we started our men's meetings about a month ago. And people who watch the videos, they know that we were supposed to tape some of those men's meetings, but we couldn't get that done. Ladies, it's so passionate, it's so in-depth, it's so serious, the things that the brothers are going through. They're suffering in silence. They need your help, but they don't know how to communicate that to you. So what we're here to do is we want to give the feminine and the masculine energy from both sides. And we want to give them tools and resources and try to show them how to be more efficient. So in being more efficient, we want to go into how to do something, not what to do. Because when we're dealing with adults, what we have to be careful of is trying to tell somebody what to do. When we say how is your approach? What is the situation at hand? When I say what you're doing, you could be cooking or you could be driving. If you are cooking, how are you cooking? Are you barbecuing? Are you frying? Are you baking? Are you broiling? That's how. So we want to take the what you're doing and we want to make you more efficient in how you're going to approach that. And that's how we're going to take the data and statistics and the research, and we want to put that out here, and that's stemming from the barbershop and the hair salon. The reason that's a very good place to gather information, because whether you be a politician, whether you're an engineer or a lawyer, whether you're a homemaker, whether you're a mechanic, whether you work in a plant, if you are a lineman or you're an electrician, whatever you are in your walk of life, you're probably going to go through the barbershop. And the same thing with the ladies in the hair salon. So because we get the entire community, I took that resource And I tried to turn that into some tools so we can use them as resources in these horrible relationships that we all want to try to fix. So these are our challenges. So we want to try to put something in place to see if we can stop the hurt, if we can stop the pain, or if we can ease some of it, if not cure it. So we want everybody to come together. We do this to be efficient. We do this to cultivate and not compete. We do not compete with the facts. The facts are that you could take this and you could try this. These things have been tested. We'll have some people also who are going to come on the show who have used the Clipperdome Chronicles as a resource, and it has helped change major components in their life. So those testimonies are going to be huge. So we're trying to figure out right now today how we can take those stories, those testimonies, and put them on the air without airing out too much private, sensitive, personal business. So those are some of the results that we've gathered from having the implementation of the tools and the resources and the data and statistics that we've gathered up to this point. I want to go back to thanking some more people. I have so many people in the last 30 years who have helped me do what I do. I thank my family, but I want to give a special thanks to my daughters. That is the light of my life and the inspiration of where this came from. My oldest daughter is the reason we are here today. If it wasn't for her, I don't know if the Clipperdome Chronicle, if the Clipperdome Barbershop would have ever existed. So I love you both, and I thank you. Also, to my ex-wife, who was my wife then, helping me take care of my daughters then and up until this point. And I'm glad that we still can sit down and break bread and still communicate with one another. So we want to continue to work and elevate and grow that relationship as well. And we can show people that even though you're not together, you can still co-parent and raise those children. So I want to thank her for that, and my daughters for being there for me, telling me things that I didn't want to hear, taking me through the wiles and the ways of the world, showing me that feminine energy and making me a better man. So I want to thank them. Next, I want to thank my mother, my father, and my brothers. That's my nuclear. That's the closest thing to me. And of course, that helps shape an individual and gives you your outlook and perspective on life. So we have my aunts who were the matriarchs, very strong on both sides of my family. They kept it together. My uncles, for teaching us how to play basketball, for jumping on us, roughing us up, toughening us up. We needed that. And we needed the discipline and respect that came from my uncles. My grandparents, they were the staples of the family, no doubt, on both sides. It was huge. They both were married, my grandmother and grandfather on my mother and father's side. So they helped, of course, pass down that lineage, that knowledge and that wisdom. I think that's what we're missing a little bit of today. The knowledge that comes from a grandparent, if we could understand that that's 200 to 300 years of wisdom. Because if he or she is 80 or 90 years old and they were taught by their parents who were taught by their parents, that's their grandparents. And if now that's your grandmother or grandfather, that's 200 to 300 years of wisdom. And we want to try to get back to that so we can help our young people understand knowledge versus experience. And that, again, is another video that we have on the YouTube Clipperdome Chronicles page. That's video number 3. So thanking my family, my close friends in Detroit, where it started. There were a lot of people that were integral pieces into the puzzle. We did a lot of things back there. We used to hold a big picnic. Every year we had like 200 or 300 people. So to help set that up, some people came out every year, time and time again, to help us do that. And those same men were in the barbershop every day. Like you see them playing checkers, or the guy that's always in the barbershop talking, making everybody laugh or poking fun. We had those guys that were there all the time, and we appreciate you. And hopefully this will get to you soon, and because we're going to grow this. So WVOL is helping us take the Clipperdome as a plant that we want to grow. And this is a bigger pot. In order for a plant to grow, of course, you need a larger pot. And the plant will adapt and adjust to its environment. So we want to thank WVL for having us on. We want to thank some of my college professors before I left college who helped me understand my heritage at Alabama A&M. That was a wealth of knowledge, and I appreciate them for the time, the struggle, for the love. My friends, we just recently had our homecoming from Alabama A&M, and I wasn't able to make it this year. This is the first time I missed it in about 20 years. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing. But we had one of my good friends got married, so yeah, we were there going to that wedding. So that's what made us miss it this year. My friends, they're at Alabama A&M. I was always an old soul all of my life. And a lot of my friends at Alabama A&M, they used to call me the old man. And I couldn't see myself outside myself. So the problem that I then had is, why did I not see it then? That's the perception versus reality. The reality was I couldn't see it because the lens that I was looking through was blurring my vision. So when we came back 10 to 15 years later to the homecoming events, they started telling me stories of events that was happening. We went to parties or we hung out, and I didn't remember it the way that they saw it. So this is how I know for sure that our communication could be lost in translation, and our perception could be definitely off from our reality. And that's what helped me understand that from that perspective. And I know for sure that we all go through that, but we have to know when we're doing it. So we thinking, we want to be gracious and have gratitude, because there's so many people who are involved in this. And I know I'm going to forget a lot, because in 30 years, I think it would be impossible for me to go back and remember everyone that helped me up to this point. We thank the family. We thank our friends. We thank the people who were integral parts from me leaving college, going back home. It's just a wealth of information. So we just trying to introduce the Clipperdome to you and let you know where it comes from, what we want to do with it, how we're going to do it, and the different promotions that we're going to have. So I want to go and speak to the ladies right now. We have our men's meetings every Sunday. And ladies, I hear you. I've been hearing you. I thank you for coming to the forums. I thank you for helping me with the research. I thank you for telling me what I didn't want to hear. I thank you for saying it again. And I thank you for saying it again. But now I heard you. So I have the fellas. We're going to bring the men, and we're going to get back to our relationship forums. We have some professional, healthy, viable options. So now you don't have to look, because we're going to bring it to you. So if there's a Uber Eats, or if it's a Uber or a Lyft, we're going to bring them in to you. So that's how we're going to do that. So you don't have to no longer look for those type of situations. We're going to bring you some healthy, viable options. And then we want to give you tools to try to help you navigate through those situations, so that we won't continue to keep miscommunicating, because it's lost in our translation. We're going to speak a lot about trauma, triggers, dysfunctions, inhibitions, and insecurities. These things are what we're going to have to work on first. That the biggest fight you're going to have is that fight within. You don't have to get concerned with somebody else and the finger pointing, saying what's wrong with somebody else, worrying about what they did or did not do. When you can be the best you can be, then you can expect for someone to do the right thing. What if we stopped the finger pointing? What if we weren't so judgmental? What if we weren't so passionate about other people's problems? What if we could look in the mirror and like what we see? What if we looked in the mirror and we liked who we are? Most people who are very judgmental have a problem with themselves. The problem comes from within. It is not external. I teach my daughters, anything that is real, you usually cannot touch it. And I want to explain that. What is real is things that cannot be manufactured. Love, communication, morals, ethics, passion, attitude, discipline, respect. That's real. A car or a home could be easily destroyed or taken away and manufactured again tomorrow. So what is real is we have to start tapping within. Look at ourselves as individuals. Stop worrying about other people because they're just fragile like everyone else is. They do have their trauma. They have their triggers. They have their dysfunctions. They have their insecurities. So when we know that we all have those, we want to be careful before we approach somebody who is just as fragile as we are. Because usually when you point a finger, it's 2 or 3 pointing back at you. So what I want to do is we want to go into the how to proceed and not what to do. That's where we want to use these tools. That's where we want to use these resources. I'm thinking about we're living in a very disoriented climate where a lot of people are very judgmental and very sensitive. What if you couldn't speak until you manifested the goals and the dreams that you set forth for yourself? What if you couldn't use your tongue, that pink tornado in your mouth, to destroy and disrupt? What if you couldn't talk until you yourself healed yourself, took care of yourself before you could speak on what somebody else is doing? Because it's very, very easy to judge because you don't have a consequence and you don't have to do the work. It's easy to tell an alcoholic to stop drinking if you don't drink because you don't have that addiction. It's easy for us to tell someone that's overweight to stop eating because it could be an addiction. It could be hooked up to trauma. It could be hooked up to insecurities. It could be an emotional situation that they're eating for. So to judge somebody without hearing a story, we are going to bring to you a foundation. We're going to build a house, or we're going to build a structure. Every structure, every house, any building sits on a foundation. And we're going to take the Clipperdome Chronicles, the tools and the resources are going to be our foundation. After you lay the concrete and it dries, then you can build your structure, whether it be made out of wood, whether it be made out of steel, or whether it be made out of concrete. However you do that is fine. But you first must lay the foundation. And then you must have a structure. And then you put in the amenities. So what we want to be careful of is in the foundation, we don't want the foundation to be cracked and then put up a structure that has rotted wood or rusted steel and put magnificent, beautiful walls and marble floors and countertops inside. Because no matter what you use as an amenity, whatever is holding it up, the structure and the foundation, is the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter about how beautiful the kitchen looks if inside of the walls is rotting and the floor is about to cave in. So the foundation that we want to use is the Clipperdome Chronicles with the different excerpts, with the different tools, with the different skills, and we want to bring on a variety of different professionals who's going to come in and help us understand how to take a healthy view and look at this from a core standpoint. Now, when I say core, you'll hear me say that a lot. I want you to imagine the earth, the globe, the sphere. When we are on the surface, we could change geographical locations, and it could be cold, and we could see icebergs in Alaska. Or we can go to sunny California in the summer and have a beautiful 85-degree day with no clouds in the sky. The temperature changes because we have seasons on the surface. When I say the seasons and the change, that's our attitude. That's our lifestyle. That's our family members. That could be the job. But the core of who you are and the core of the earth has very little change. So what we like to do is go to the core. We don't necessarily like to deal with the surface, although it is important. What we do is use a universal principle. And no matter where you go on the face of this earth, the core does not change. Only the geographical location on the surface. So we're going to stick to the core. We're going to stick to the research. And we want to get a lot of phone calls over the course of being on the air. The number to the station tonight, if you want to call in, is 615-227-1470. Again, that number is 615-1470. So you can call into the show if you heard something that you like and you want to expound on it. If you heard something that you didn't like and you want to ask a question or make a comment, please feel free to do so. Yes, so you could do that, or you can reach me after the show. You can reach me at 615-569-1926. Again, you can reach me after the show at 615-569-1926. Okay, so we want to also be clear when you call in. We are not doing this to compete. We do this to cultivate. We're doing this for efficiency, not perfection. When I say efficiency, that means if I'm at a level 20, then I want to just get to a level 25 when the top level is 100. I'm only saying I want to elevate and move up. This will not make us perfect, because as long as we are human and we are sucking air and pumping blood, we will be fallible, and we can never have perfection. To be perfect is divine, and we are finite, imperfect individuals. We are just human. So we don't want to compete. We want to cultivate these relationships. We want to elevate. We don't want to exclude any individual or any group. When we speak from the research, this is just coming from the last 10 years of time and resources spent on trying to figure out how men and women think, who they are, and how they respond. So this is of course men and women from a heterosexual standpoint, coming from the barbershop and the hair salon. And that is not to exclude any individual or any group. It's a research-based situation that we have. So the data comes from the statistics. So we don't want anybody to feel like we're slighting anybody or this is the only way to go. You should go out there. You should get your team together, get your resources, and do your research on whatever it is that you want to do. And then you can put that out there, and somebody can help you grow that as well. But we don't want to be in a situation where people feel excluded or they feel like they're being attacked, because we have to be careful in a very, very sensitive climate. We live in a feel-good right now society. So living in a feel-good right now society, we have to be very careful, because people want what they want right now with no delayed gratification. Now, living in the feel-good right now society, that's video number 12 on the YouTube channel on the Clipperdome Chronicles. And you can go there and check that video out. We have to get some scheduling together, because we have a lot of promotions coming up. So we're going to have a banquet coming up again at the men's meeting on Sunday, and we're going to make that a video. So then we're going to start putting the ladies banquet together, and we're going to make that a video as well. And then we're going to take those two banquets and we're going to merge the men and the women so we can get the forum started. So then we're going to have people who go to the forum. We're going to have them on the show, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and they can tell you what they've experienced, and you can hear it from the horse's mouth. You can hear people who've actually touched, tasted, and felt the forums, and so they can kind of tell you what's going on with that. I feel like I'm missing some people. I really need to, I know somebody's going to hear this, and it's so many people. I'm just scared that if I get off this air and I don't thank enough people, I'm going to have some problems. It's just so much. My uncle Irwin was a staple in my adult life. He taught me a wealth of knowledge in a very short period of time. He came at a sensitive point in my life, where it's not that he was more influential than anybody else. I think it was timing. The things that he told me and the stories that he shared helped me with family. It helped me be a man. It helped me understand my charge. It helped me understand my call. Going against the odds when I felt like I was crawling, he made me stand up. When I thought I was in the dark, he gave me some light. It's just there's some things that I have done myself. People have told me over the years, and I know that's an extension of him. So I want to make sure to the kings that you know what your father means to me, because he is here right now today, trust and believe, involved in some of this. So I want to do a special thanks to my cousin, Ace. Now, he doesn't know this. Just the perseverance and the type of character he had under the adversity coming up. I had a opportunity to be over there quite a bit, and him and his brothers, it was a lot going on over there. And so I just want to make sure that they know that they got a special place in this as well, because I saw the struggle and the trials and tribulations and the trauma into, no matter what it looks like on the outside, to come on the other side and be whatever it is you are is amazing. And so, I want to make special thanks to you. Special thanks to some other family members. My cousins, Marlon and Carl. And this is all connected from experiences to the Clipperdome while we were coming up. They were athletes. And they showed me where passion and discipline comes from when you love something. And that's what I use today to do this, what I do. My Aunt Sharon, special thanks. Her perseverance in being the matriarch of the Solomon side of the family, always just having that good-hearted spirit. No matter what was going on, she was always there. She was always available, never turning you away when you know she should have told you no, but she didn't, and she kept going. Thank you, Auntie, for that. Back to my mother. My mother, she gave me, when I was 6, I remember this, and I see where sometimes I get some of the vision from. I see things before they happen, sometimes. And my mother used to be, I wouldn't say a prophet, let's just say, for the lack of a better term, she was like a prophet. She would say something to me, and I couldn't understand why she said that. And I remember when she gave me my first color pencil set. I was about 6 years old, and I didn't know I was an artist. So I'm an artist. That's who I am. That's not what I do. I'm a sculptor. So I guess she saw me doodle, and I was just drawing and scribbling on the paper, and she said, wow, this is a little bit different. I think he has something here. So when she gave me those pencils, I didn't know that would shape and form my life, because that's who I am. And I went to school for art. That's what I went for. Commercial arts back then. So you'd be in advertisement is what that was about. So when she gave me those pencils, I didn't know that she saw that vision. And then I went to high school. I won an art contest, and I didn't even enter it. My teacher took my picture and gave it to another student. And the student won with my picture. And they put it up in the hallway, and I walked by it, and I said, that's my picture. And because I didn't enter the contest, and they wanted to, I guess, propel somebody else with that picture, they did that. And I didn't know. So then before I left for college, while I was in high school, my mother brought me my first set of clippers. Now, I didn't really pay any attention. I was cutting my own hair. So my mother, again, she had that vision to see something I couldn't see. And when you have somebody that's that wise and have that wisdom like that, and we all were children at one point in time, if you're an adult today, we didn't understand our parents at that particular time because we were not supposed to. Because we only had knowledge, we couldn't have their experience. Until you walk through something, you really don't understand it. So after she gave me my first set of clippers and I went on to college, and now that sparked us where we are today. That gave us the Clipperdome Chronicles. The Clipperdome Chronicles spent me off into real estate, the other several different businesses that I had. And then my mother told me, she said, when you turn 35, she said, you're going to have a life-altering situation in your life, and it's going to change drastically. And again, she didn't know what she was talking about. Of course, she didn't know. But guess what happened at 35? Exactly. My life changed totally changed. And it's amazing to see that type of vision that she had. But she never really went into it, and she found out that I had a little bit of it. And she never really sat down and tried to cultivate that inside of me. I just guess she left it alone. Maybe she didn't even understand it herself. My dad, my father was he was a man's man. very strong man. No, he is, excuse me, Dad. He is a very strong man. He is a man's man. He instilled in me discipline and respect and responsibility. And when I was younger, of course, I didn't like my father. Dad, I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. It was your approach. It was how you did it, not what you did. So, but I thank you for that today, because you have to go through the struggle so it can make you strong. Anything that's good for you is usually hard to get. So I thank you for making that hard. And no, I did not like it when it was happening, but thank you for that. My brother Ron, is my oldest brother. He showed me how to live life, how to have fun. My brother, he didn't let a lot of stuff hold him back. He did it the way he wanted to do it. He had the hot cars. We raced cars. He got me into race cars. He showed me about speed and power. So a lot of the guys that we used to run with, we used to drag race on the street. Of course, we weren't supposed to. We used to run from the police a lot of times. But he showed me a lot about how to fix cars. Just the little stuff that you need to know. And I would have never learned that if he wasn't racing. So I want to thank them for being such an integral part of my life and getting me here to this point. My family is just like everybody else's. Dysfunctional. We fight. We argue. I talked to my dad today. I was helping him with some stuff. Dad, I didn't want to do it, but I did it. It took a lot longer than I wanted to, but I had to do it because it's going to help you and me real soon, and I'll see you soon. So yeah, my brother just showed me how to live life. He was a free spirit. He didn't have a lot of things tying him down, a lot of insecurities and inhibitions. He just did it how he wanted to do it. So that's what he taught me. And those are staples in my life for those people. So then my little brother, Sean showed me how to just be yourself. He does it his way, with irregardless to what you think, good or bad, he's happy. And that's what matters to him. And that he taught me, just be yourself and be happy. And a lot of things just really don't matter. You just shrug it off and you keep going. So I want to thank him for that. A lot of people that work with me and for me over the years helped shape me and show me who I am. They made me dig deep inside of myself. When I turned 40 years old, I started my quest on elevation, cultivation of myself, looking within. I never wanted to stay the same. I think every 5 to 10 years you should not, if not reinvent yourself, there should be a lot of growth and elevation in what you do and who you are. That happened for me. When I turned 40, I dedicated myself to growth and elevation. I said, I don't want to stay here. I'm not going to be this same person. There's something in our families. I think we all go through this. We all have somebody in our family who just doesn't get it. Their filter is off. And when I say that, maybe we have the uncle that gets too drunk, or the aunt that may be dressed too promiscuous. And then we keep telling her, hey, don't do that. Or we tell Uncle, hey, they lay off the liquor just a little bit. But their filter is off and they don't get it. But it's something driving them. Maybe it's a trigger or trauma, something emotional. I don't know why they do what they do, but we all have them in our families. So if we know we have people in our families that are irritating, what happens sometimes when it's you? When do you know when you are the problem and not someone else? That's why in my 40th birthday, I wanted to start my quest. So I started asking my family, what type of person do you think I am? What do you see when you see me or when you talk to me? What are some things that's very irritating to most people or disturbing or disruptive that I can change that will help me be a better me and help me relate better to my family? So I started asking those questions. And of course, a lot of times our family, they don't want to go into that because they think that it's improper. It's not politically correct to tell people how you really feel. Because a lot of times we live a lie. And that's the only truth that we have. I'll say that again. Sometimes we live a lie. And that's the only truth that we have. We have to get past not wanting to grow and elevate. Not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings. Because deception is going to bring disruption. The truth is going to hurt, but it can bring us resolution. So I prepared myself to start seeking peace on my 40th birthday. But I didn't know that I had to prepare for a war. In our relationships and in my life, there's a lot of duality. you're going to hear me speak a lot on duality. And when I say duality, the universal perspective in the Creator gave us the direct opposite of everything. If he gives you big, he gives you small. If he gives you hot, it gives you cold. If it gives you peace, it gives you war. If it gives you male, it gives you female. So duality is something that we have to deal with. That is the yin and the yang. Even our electricity has a male and a female. When you plug into the wall, it takes the male and the female to conduct that electricity. That's just duality. That's not excluding any individual or any group. That is just the universal perspective. And that's where we come from. So the duality in life, you'll hear that 100 million times. If you keep watching the broadcast, duality is going to be in there all the time. Most of the time, we're going to refer back to that. So having that in our families, knowing when are you the problem, because it's easy to see the mouse in somebody else's house but not the elephant in your living room. Stop trying to point the finger. Work on you. Dig within yourself. The hardest battle that you are ever going to have is cultivating and getting stronger from within. That is the mental and spiritual connection that you have to come in contact with in order to grow. So we want to move on to our sponsors. We have some sponsors, some people who help us with the show, who contribute to what we do. We have Miss Kiera, and Miss Kiera is going to be on the show, good people. I was in the mall, and this young lady started at 11 years old. She makes candles. She makes handmade candles from soy. So I saw her in the mall. I was walking through the mall, and she was standing there with her mom. Miss Perkins is her mom. So she was standing there. I said, oh, man. I said, look at the young lady. She's out here trying to get her business going at 13. She's 13. She was 13 when I met her, but she was 11 when she started. And she started making these candles because she made one for her father for Father's Day. And so when she made it for her father, and he really liked it, so she kept making them. She likes to make the chocolate chip and milk candles. So if you want to get with Miss Kiera, you can reach her at her website. You can reach her at www.candlesbykiera. That's www.candles. Candles is spelled Kandles by Kiera. Kiera is spelled Kierra, and then that's .com. That's www.candlesbykiera.com. And congratulations, Kiera, and we will get you on this show. I just spoke to Mrs. Perkins, so we're going to make sure that we get Miss Kiera in here. Next, we have Murray's Heating and Cooling, Mr. Royce Murray. He services, repairs, and installs HVAC equipment. So that's your heating and cooling unit outside of the house. I know Mr. Royce personally, and let me tell you, we have to understand that it's hard today to put our trust in our professionals that might come to our house. And if you've ever had to deal with an HVAC professional, you understand what I'm saying. It is very expensive, and Mr. Royce is a professional. He is going to diagnose and repair what you need repaired without extra cost, because I got to know him through a friend of mine, and he didn't know me from anybody. And the prices that he have are amazing. He's never spent a lot of time over at my house. He gets in and he gets out, and then that's it. So give Mr. Royce a call. If you have any HVAC issues coming up this winter and you need your HVAC repaired, give him a call. You can reach Mr. Murray. Oh, I got to come back. Get your number, Mr. Murray. I'm sorry. It's on my other piece of paper. We have lovingdigital.com. If you want to, this is the Loving Digital Obituaries. They provide customized printed obituary services. They come with open hearts and creative minds to make sure that your loved one's legacy lasts forever. So if you want, at the untimely event, if there is a untimely passing in the family and we all have to deal with that, please get in touch with lovingdigitals.com. And that's lovingdigitals.com. you can call area code 313. The number is 685-1887. That's lovingdigitals.com. That's Loving Digital's Obituaries. We have Holmes Pest Control. Holmes Pest Control, they've been in business for over 20 years. They specialize in gnats and bed bugs. This is another professional that has done work for me. Again, I cannot stress enough how experience and professionalism and being able to trust a professional that's coming to service you. It's like a dying art. You can call Roger Holmes at Holmes Pest Control. You can reach him at 615-319-5708. Again, he's been in business for over 20 years and he specializes in gnats and bed bugs. And they call him the Bug Man. Now back to, we have Royce Murray HVAC Services. The number for Royce Murray HVAC Services that we stated earlier, his number is 615-669-9077. That's Royce HVAC Services. You can reach him again at 615-669-9077. So those are some of our sponsors. And we want to thank them for supporting us on the air tonight. So we just wanted to just give you an intro to what we do. We have a lot of things lined up. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of excerpts. We have a lot of promotions. You can go to YouTube, Clipperdome Chronicles. We have about 36 videos there, and you can see what we do, how we set up the videos to get to this point so we can do this on the air. So if you want to catch up with the show, please go like and subscribe to the videos on YouTube, Clipperdome Chronicles. Check the videos out, like and subscribe. Now, the only way that you can win the gift cards and the gift certificates from the giveaways that we're going to have is if you like and subscribe. So before you call in with the answer or if you call in with your vote, we're going to need you to like and subscribe to the Clipperdome Chronicles. Also, you can reach us on Instagram at Clipperdome Inc. That's Instagram at Clipperdome Inc. So we got the YouTube. Oh, also, you can give us an email. You can email us at clipperdomeinc@gmail.com. That's clipperdomeinc@gmail.com.